going down, fuck the word, I'm a thug. Tell him, can't nothing stop me but a slug.
I say all the time.
Who gives a fuck what this fucker's last name is? Can we just name him Go Away, motherfucker? God damn it. Like, it was funny because we were talking about this like not too long ago on Twitter, and it was just like, dude, I'm so tired of having to try and spell this fucker's last name. I mean, I just put Paulie.
Yeah, I don't spell that shit at all, Jack.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Keyboard Words, episode 72. I'm Eddie Law. That's Fred Kirby. That's just Rebecca. We're gonna get right into the Polymons United. I can't say his fucker's last name.
See?
God damn.
Brick's got the worst, and he's fucking American, right? It's an Italian.
Italian heritage, but I believe he's American.
You can't be American and have a goddamn last name that's fucking hard to pronounce. If you're Russian, fair. I get it. Brazilian, fucking Slovakian, whatevs. God damn it, you're from Brooklyn. Fucking Mallow, whatever the fuck.
He's a proud Italian, my friend.
So what the fuck, man? Are they like? Have you heard about this, Eddie? You act like you hadn't even heard. Have you heard that they're taking this like this might actually be a thing? Conor versus fucking Paulie.
Yeah. So apparently, the two sides have been speaking, negotiating. Is what they're saying.
You know where the smoke comes from? The smoke comes from that fucking little Paulie prick saying that Paul Heyman, which is it just me or was that a prick from the ECW? Right? Was that like a wrestling guy, Paul Heyman?
He's still a wrestling guy, I think.
Okay, whenever I hear the name Paul Heyman, that whole Conor Floyd shit, every time I hear that name, I think about the fucking Undertaker or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy, to be honest with you.
Well, of course it's not the same guy, but still, the black man, Paul Heyman, that got the deal done with the Floyd fight, Paulie fucking Malja, whatever the fuck, said that Mr. Heyman told him that they were going to get that fight done. And that dude pretty much gets shit done when he wants it done. Now, all things being equal, he's kind of got a little bit of a point there. That fucking Paul Heyman dude, I don't know exactly who he is, but fuck, he made a fucking fight with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor happen. I suppose he could do the same with Paulie's shortstop.
Well, shit. Look, and what's up, UC on the comments? He's tired of this Paulie shit too. He goes, Paulie needs to shut the fuck up. To be honest, CBA with his bullshit. God no, Paulie doesn't deserve a payday. Fuck Paulie. He doesn't deserve a red painting night, and then a bunch of angry faces. So, and Joey says, "Sup, motherfuckers? What up, Joey?" Yeah. So the whole thing's fucked up, and it's irritating because it's like we just want to see some MMA for once. Like we've been talking about boxing fucking forever.
Listen.
So yeah.
You don't get a bigger Conor nut hugger than me, right?
Right.
I mean, how long we've been doing the show? How long we known each other? How long we've been talking fucking MMA since before Conor was a thing. I've been riding his fucking train since he got to the UFC. I can tell you, as a fucking unbiased Conor nut hugger, this is the line, Jack. That I don't give a fuck if it's boxing. God damn it, fighting with Kempo sticks. I don't want to see Conor and Paulie do nothing. I don't want to see those pricks do a dance off at a nightclub. I don't want to see them do anything together. If they do anything like combat sport, listen, Conor McGregor has got one of two fights, in my opinion. Fucking Nate, which I don't want, but I'll accept, or fucking Tony. That is it, Jack. We have fun with Floyd, but this Paulie nonsense has got to be put to fucking bed.
Jesse, what do you think about this, man? With this whole here's a question that I put out. I want to say as soon as I heard about this shit. Was, and you tell me your answer as relating to this whole boxing thing, right? It's, does Conor McGregor have an obligation to the division to defend the belt?
Oh, no, I don't think he has obligation to anything, honestly, because he's kind of, what do we always talk about? You know, he's made his nut. He's the king of the UFC, and the UFC is going to allow him to do whatever makes them the most money. So whatever makes him the most money is what he's going to do. Obligation? No, not really. I mean, to the fans probably will feel slighted if he does do boxing again, or if he takes the Nate fight maybe and doesn't defend that title. But does that really matter in the end? Because all the fans are still going to watch whatever he does. So I don't really think it matters, man. At this point, we have a current champion, in my opinion, in Tony Ferguson. He's the 155 champ until Conor comes in and, you know, proves that he's not or proves that he is. Either way. So, you know, let's just keep it moving until Conor McGregor decides to, you know, the king decides to, you know, hammer down something and, you know, let it be done how it's going to be done. But up until that point, let's just leave it at that. You know, the more we
What?
give him attention, and the more we nut hug like Fred over here, the more power he has, and the more he's gonna keep doing this crap.
What the fuck is going on? Am I the fucking Conor fan or what? I don't know what's happening. Listen, yeah, of course he's got a fucking obligation to defend that belt. And let me tell you something too, fucking Jesus, and the most of you out there calling fucking Tony the real champion. Can we just stop it with that? Listen, Tony's not the goddamn real champion. He's the fucking interim champion. Fucking alternative facts much? Welcome back to reality, guys. That cocksucker's not the real champion.
That's my favorite use of alternative facts ever.
I like him.
Fred,
I like
Fred.
Tony. But Conor is the champ. I don't give a shit how long he's been gone for. It was a weird circumstance. He got to fight the greatest boxer ever, make $1 gajillion. He's back now until they sign the Paulie fight, which hopefully they don't. Huh?
Is he back? Because I don't see him announcing his next fight. I don't see him announcing, you know, hey Tony, I'm coming for you. It's more like, hey, what's up, Nate? You know, maybe if you bring your number down, we'll make that fight. That's not going to prove he's the champ. That don't mean nothing to me.
But that's not exactly what happened, though. John Kavanaugh did come out and say they want Tony. So that was, I mean, that's. Hey, man, he speaks for the man. Jesus Christ, you act like it's the bum in front of the gym. It's fucking John Kavanaugh. If he's saying they want Tony, we got to take his fucking word until Conor puts out something different. And I think the Tony fight sells. Okay, here's a question for you cocksuckers. We all know that fucking Conor sells 1 million fucking buys against a broomstick.
Yep.
And I think we all would agree that Nate is going to do more than Tony. But here's the question. How much more? How much more? How many more buys does Nate versus Conor actually do than Tony versus Conor? And then it comes down to how important is getting some unity with those belts. And that's where the magic lies.
Can I hit you with this though, Fred? I think it depends what the stakes are. If we're just doing a fun fight with Nate for a third time, I don't think that's going to do much more than unifying the belts with Tony. Yet, if you get like he's fighting Conor for the belt, I think that'll do a lot more pay-per-view buys, because that's actually something that's tangible, that's going to prove who's the best out of those two guys. You know, it's going to be a deciding factor in this trilogy. But if it's just like a fun fight where Conor's taking a catchweight or something, I don't think that's going to do too much for, you know, a red penny night for most people.
Well, put your goddamn mouth where your numbers are at. What do you think? Like, what do you think one way or the other? What do you think fucking, you know, with the belt or without the belt?
Okay, I'll say this. I mean, I think everybody's interested.
Make a million the benchmark. Just like hypothetically, Nate versus Conor being $1 million. How do you think Tony goes with the belt and without it?
With Tony, I think he'd do about 1.5, 1.5, 1.6. I think with Nate, I think you're looking at a 2 million buy. I think that fight offers that much more money.
With or without the belt? With your theory.
With the belt, I think they could do gangbusters, man. I think that'll do a lot more than that. I think that'll set the benchmark for pay-per-view buys.
I love you, Jesse, but I think you're an idiot. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I think the only people that really care about Nate Conor are fucking affliction-wearing, Bud White sipping douchebags. And those pricks don't give two piss-alls about no fucking belts. They just want to see those two guys fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you this. I think there might be some – listen, man, I think Tony Ferguson's kind of got the rub right now. Look, man, if Nate had not beat the fuck out of Michael Johnson on Fox, that little post-fight thing don't happen. Because, listen, it all stems from performances. At the end of the day, we can all talk all the shit we want to about Conor, but he got in there and he fucking thunderstruck some fools, and he got the belt because of it. I mean, he talks a lot, but he does back it up. Nate runs his mouth, fucking misses, you know, does all the shit. At the end of the day, sometimes he wins big fights impressively. That's what you need. Listen, what's Tony doing right now? Winning big fights impressively. Not the greatest shit talker in the world, but I think you might be surprised. I think Tony's narrowing the gap on the pay-per-view buys here. I think at this point, he's got the interim belt. He's got some super impressive performances. He's running his mouth. He's no Nate Diaz, but I mean, fuck, man, the other ingredients are there.
Okay, real quick on this triangle between Nate, Tony, and Conor. Let me just clear this thing up. The shit talk is not great from either guy, Tony or Nate. The difference is Nate is real and you know it. Like, you know, he legitimately doesn't give a fuck. You know, he legitimately doesn't really care to talk shit. Like, Conor goes off with the fucking promo of just the fucking clearly rehearsed promos, and Nate's response, "Fuck you. Now what?" Or fuck you. How about that? You don't care. You don't give a fuck. Tony Ferguson, awful shit talk. Even the prepared shit's awful. Okay, so that's not even gonna be a fucking thing. I'm with Fred. Impressive performances get numbers. You finish a guy like Kevin Lee by triangle, whether or not he has staff or not, whether or not you got Khabib's douchebag. We'll talk about him in a hot second here because he's fucking talking shit about Kevin Lee too, like a dipshit. All right. Whether or not, it doesn't matter how Kevin Lee was. You finished impressively. Fred's right. He pieced up. Nate pieced up Michael Johnson. Went off. I was like, "Fuck you, Conor McGregor. You're taking everything I work for." Fucking gold. And that was not even. That was straight out. Improv. Right. So then you get the fights. Then Nate, impressive performance against Conor, finishes in him. Even in the second fight.
That's what kept this thing going.
Exactly. Even in the second fight, impressive performance. Had to go to majority decision. Wasn't even unanimous. It wasn't even a clear winner, right? So, except at the end, Conor got the win. But here's the thing: the reason why the Nate fight to me does better numbers is because there's already a history there. There's already a storyline there, right? With Tony, and that's honestly the fight I want to see first. Tony Conor. Is because it's like, ooh, what did he do against Conor McGregor? You know what I mean? He took a lot of shots against Kevin Lee, and Kevin Lee wasn't even 100%. What is he gonna do against the prime Conor McGregor? That's impressive. That's what I want to see. That's a fight I want to see. So I mean, that's just my 2 cents on that. But Jesse, what were you saying?
No, you know what? I think you guys also have a little air of rose-colored glasses here about the whole Nate Conor situation because Nate was never going to get that fight. Remember that.
Agreed.
Nate was never going to get that fight up until who was it? Dos Anjos pulled out the fight last minute. Then they called the guy that was talking mad smack and called out the king, right? I mean, but you got to agree with me. Wait. You got to agree with me, Fred.
It was a sweepstakes. It was fight.
Exactly. You're correct. It was definitely a sweepstakes. And of course, the guy that they know is going to bring a fight to a guy that they love promotionally at the time, they took a chance. And they're like, well, if it doesn't go down, at least this guy's going to get in there, be tough, and he's going to give Conor McGregor a good show. Ended up beating him, not what the company wanted, but it definitely created this buzz around those two. Yet, he wasn't the original guy that they were looking at. Let's paint the scenario. Had RDA been in there, got snuffed in, a round or two, would Nate have ever gotten an opportunity?
Probably not, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like,
right. No.
Probably not. To answer your question,
and to add to Jesse's point, there was a bunch of guys they called before they called Nate. Frankie Edgar said no. There was like a handful of guys that said no. Short notice, 2 weeks, no. Who was the one guy that said, yeah, fuck it, let's do this shit? Nate Diaz. So you got to give him that credit there, Jesse, that he stepped up.
No, of course. I'm not taking anything away from Nate. I'm just saying that we got to look at the whole situation. And I think right now the best thing that Conor can do for his brand and for being the guy, for all of us, for us as hardcore fans, defend the title. Because at this point, him and Tony are the same. They won the championship belt and they have 0 defenses between the both of them. They haven't really established themselves as dominant champions in anything. They just kind of have the belt as a, hey, I was better this night. I definitely think that would be the best course of action for Conor. Now, if he wants to do, a fun fight to kind of end that trilogy with Nate, I mean, I think that's going to do gangbuster numbers because, like Fred said, you got all the Just Bleed fans that are just going to be there, watching that fight, paying the money. I just don't think it's going to do anything for Conor.
Okay. I'm sure we can agree. None of us want the Paulie fight, right?
Yeah.
Fair? Okay. Let me just read some YouTube comments here. Jeremiah from the Hardcore MMA Show says if this fight, he's talking about the Paulie fight. This fight happens, I'm boycotting the UFC. Uncle Hank's drinking buddy saying Paulie's annoying. UC says I'm a nut hugger too, but I just want to see Conor in the fucking octagon. That's all. I want Conor versus Kukui, and that is it. And Jeremiah goes, it's bad when Fred draws the line on Conor.
No shit, man. No shit.
Yeah, that's true. UC says I like Khabib, but he's not doing a good job lately promoting himself. He needs to take a few normal fights before he gets a title shot. He's too inactive for a title shot. We'll bring him in a second. And I think he also says I think Tony and Conor will be interesting as fuck. On the ground, Conor is fucked. On a stand-up, Tony is fucked. He's too sloppy, leaves himself open a lot. Definitely a great matchup. And you can take that a whole bunch of ways. Jesse?
Let me ask you, though. Let me ask you, Fred. Do you agree with that, though? Do you agree on the ground Conor McGregor is completely, shit out of luck?
But mind you, I believe he's a purple belt. I'm not sure. Purple or brown belt. I'm not sure.
I think I wouldn't say fucked, but I would give Tony the noted edge.
Oh, easily.
I would say that Conor could probably last a little better on the ground than Tony will fare at distance on the feet. But that's what makes MMA so open and fun, man. Even on the ground and even on the feet, you don't necessarily have to play those games. Conor doesn't have to stay in El Kukui's guard, and Tony doesn't have to stay at range. He can, this fight can take place in a million different ways. But I don't think that Conor will be in extreme trouble. I mean, he's competent on the ground. He's extremely athletic. But he has been training nothing but his hands for a long time, so that could bite him in the ass a little bit. I mean, fucking Tony's been rolling with Eddie Bravo, so
yeah. So
yeah, but I mean, look, I it's weird because then you think about that fight with Nate Diaz, right? And Nate Diaz couldn't really get him down in that second fight, right? Like, really didn't try, but he really couldn't either. And then in that first fight, when he was fresh and he took him to the ground, he really couldn't do much to him. Conor McGregor showed some great jiu-jitsu awareness of avoiding everything. The only reason he got taken down and taken out of that fight was because he gassed. He gassed. He got cracked a couple times. He got a little woozy, and then made some mistakes on the ground. But I mean, I really think that he's a lot more competent than people give him. Jiu-jitsu level of Nate Diaz, in the sense that I just don't think if those two go head to head, I don't give El Kukui that much of an edge over Nate Diaz in the jiu-jitsu game.
No, but El Kukui's got a lot better fucking wrestling.
I have to agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Nate's wrestling is kind of shite. I mean, we all know his BJJ's top notch, but he cannot really get the fight on the ground. Tony's takedowns will be a lot different and a lot more effective than Nate's were.
Yeah, and UC says not completely fucked. I didn't phrase that right, but Tony has the advantage 100% on the ground. I agree.
I think so. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
So
definitely has the advantage for sure.
Yeah. The thing is, when the first fight, now you guys mentioned the first fight, I remember, in the first round near the end of it, I remember Conor and Nate were on the ground, and Conor was defending very well. I was like, when that fight hit the ground at the end of the first round, I was like, it's going to get interesting. And Conor defended pretty well.
Yo, mark my words right now. If they do the Conor Tony fight, that fight will come down to one thing and one thing only: how much damage Tony Ferguson can take. Because Conor will gas.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it, he will gas. And Tony can take a lot of damage. Can he take Conor's damage? That's all that fight comes down to. If he can take the damage, fourth round, Conor's fucked. If they do that fight, hypothetically, and it makes it to a fourth round, wherever y'all are at, know that wherever I'm at, shit is in my pants. Because if it goes to a fourth round, I am not confident at all in Conor's chances. The first 3 rounds, sure. Rounds 4 and 5, Tony, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
All right, well, let's talk about the man that Joey Diaz called Khabib. Okay, Khabib Nurmagomedov coming out saying that he said this dude's still asking for title fights. He can't even make it to a fight. All right, can't make it past the weight cut. Can't make it 2 weigh-ins. But this guy wants to fight for a title already. Hey, Jesse? Remember what he said? I think he said something like he would fight Tony. It's him. He wants him against Tony and Nate against Conor, and then winners fight each other. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah. That's basically he has kind of the right idea of what people want to see, because we do want to see that Tony Ferguson match, right, against Khabib. I mean, I think as fans, we all want to see that fight. It got booked 3 times. It never happened, but I think we want to see that fight. and we definitely want to see a third fight between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. But I mean, it's just weird that instead of saying I want the Conor fight, he's trying to go for a Tony Ferguson fight and get an interim champion to defend when we have the champion that might be available to actually unify that title. So it's kind of weird. And like you said, he's not very good at the talking. You know, he's not very good at it. Ali is definitely not doing him justice over there on his Twitter page. So, I mean, it's a disaster over there.
Goddamn.
Hold on. God damn it. Now, just hold on. Fucking for Christ's sakes. I'm not going to let y'all sully Khabib.
No, go.
Like that. Hold on, God damn it. Let's provide just a hair's worth of context here.
Okay.
What was going on. Now, just calm down, cocksuckers. Do you motherfuckers actually think that if they offered Khabib the fight against Conor, he would say no? Of course he would take the fight against Conor. What he's saying is, what he said was, I watched that interview too, you cocksuckers. What he said was, this is what the UFC wants. This is money fight, right? This is money fight. Yes, they want Nate versus Conor. Then now this is where, and he's right? That is the money fight.
No, he has a point.
Probably what they want. Like, let's be fucking honest here. If all things were being equal and Nate was naming the right price, this fight would probably already be fucking booked. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, Khabib's just trying to get the biggest fight he can get against Tony. I mean, fuck, Tony is the toughest guy out there. I mean, believe me, my point is he's not trying to avoid Conor.
100%.
Tony, if they gave him Conor, he would fucking take that fight. I just think he thinks there's no way he's getting Conor, so might as well shoot for Tony. But he even said he'd take Barboza, which is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think he'll get Barboza too. Jesse?
But let me ask you, Fred. If you're in his position, you're undefeated, and okay, you've had some weight cut issues, whatever. You know, you can resolve those things. Wouldn't you be shooting for that Conor fight? Wouldn't you say, yeah, the UFC might want this, but they need to make this fight against me because of this, or whatever reason? When you start delegating yourself down to like, well, I'm not really the money fight. I just put me against Barboza or, the interim champ. That undercuts your value. You're not valuing yourself right, man. Because like you said, I think Khabib is probably the guy. He's got the best wrestling. I mean, the way he trucks people is just incredible, right? We just need to see him more often in there doing his thing. But I don't know, man. Like when you say stuff like that, it just makes you sound like you're not confident enough in that you're going to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think it's that, man. I just think dude, he's not getting the Conor fight. He knows that. Like, that's not, dude. If they pass, the only fucker that's getting the Conor fight, not named Tony, is Nate. I mean, there's no fucking way they're passing Nate and Tony up and giving Khabib the Conor fight. That's just not reality. At that point, let's give it to Kevin. So I think this is, it's, you know how these Russians are, man. They don't, it's nonsense to talk about shit that's just not going to happen. That's ridiculous. That's never going to happen. So
I get you, but I mean, you also want to shoot for the stars, right? Because Conor, right? I mean, Nate was not close to be.
You don't want to waste your time on shit that's impossible, though, dude. You're not getting the Conor unless Nate and Tony die in a fucking fiery auto crash with each other. Khabib's not getting that Conor fight. Not right now, man. It's just, there's no way.
But tell me this, though. Like, let's put it in the perspective of Nate had no shot of fighting Conor McGregor before, right? When he had just beaten Michael Johnson. He wasn't on that level. But he still shot for what he knew was the best chance that, at making a money fight. I mean, we're in the business. This UFC business is about marketing yourself. And you can't undersell yourself. You have to say, I'm the best. They need to come and take this O away from me. And the only guy that can take this O away from me is nobody. And I'm going to prove it by beating Conor. Or I'm going to prove it by, like, you got to sell yourself. You can't undersell yourself and say, Barboza, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but come on, man. If Khabib had done that, the hardcores would have ate his dick off. Like, oh, of course he wants the Conor fight. That's the easy fight. He's avoiding Tony. He's scared of Tony. That's the real champion. He didn't want to fight Tony. Either way, people would have cried. I just think he knew there's not a snowball's chance in hell he gets the Conor fight, so why waste energy on it?
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying, it's marketing, man. You got to sell yourself. Come on. Yeah. You're the best guy in that division.
besides Khabib's fighting, like his best like promotional work was this is number one bullshit. That's like the one. That's like one thing he's got. So I'm like, hey, fuck it, dude. We're run it. Why not? And as just reading a few comments here, a lot of people don't really want the Diaz fight either. I mean, consensus on YouTube. I mean, and Raider says, oh, Raider makes a point here. Tony Ferguson can take a lot. He took Barbosa damage, and he also took Benata damage, got hurt, and ended up winning.
Conor's got that weird power, though, man. A lot of guys that Conor has just starched have taken a lot of. Look at Eddie fucking Alvarez, man. That dude's taking beatings from everybody and just got thunderstruck by Conor.
He got fucked up.
Right.
And then so it's this will be a fucking topic of discussion until Conor fights again in the UFC.
You know what I would like to see in an ideal world, and everybody calm their panties down. I know it would never happen, but if I had my druthers at this point, the current what we got, because I like Nate. I think he is a top guy. When Nate's on, I think he can beat any of those guys. Real talk. Like I think all of them could beat each other on a good day. I would like on the same card to see Conor fight Tony, fucking legitimize the belts, and have Khabib fight Nate. And then let that winner fight the goddamn winner. Nate, you got one fight to win, bruh, and you get the big trilogy fight. Conor's got to win a fight too. You fuckers don't win the fight? Then cool. We'll give you all the trilogy fight after as the losers that y'all are. I mean, we'll see what happens, but Nate needs to fight again at this point. It's been too long.
Yeah. I agree with Fred. God damn it, I agree with Fred.
Motherfuckers love it to be a soldier. Must maintain composure at ease.